Hello, something a little bit different today. This is a Kimbara electric guitar. Now, the strange thing here is I normally do synthesizers and repair electronics, but this is electronics after all. Especially with all these little extra bits down here. We have auto wah, phase, sustain, and various effects, and you can sort of change the order of them. If you have an electric guitar with several pedals, some people swap the pedals around and it changes the overall effect. Well, that's what you can do with these controls down here. Now, this Kimbara guitar, they were registered on the 2nd of January 1968, and this is a made in Japan one, so this could be anywhere from there up until the late 80s, because after the late 80s they started to be made in Korea, up until the 90s, and then it was China. So this sits in the 80s area, I'm guessing. Now, I don't know a lot about guitars, really. I'm not a very good guitar player, but I just kind of thought this has got to be interesting. It's got to make an interesting video. I've plugged it into an amplifier and I'm getting absolutely nothing out of it at all. So something is breaking the circuit from the pickups to the output, or maybe there's a problem with the bypass switches here, and I really don't know what to expect. Unfortunately, to get into this, I've got to de-string the whole guitar so I can take the faceplate off, because I'm guessing a lot of the electronics is underneath here because it's wood on the back, apart from this little panel here. So I'll get it on the desk and get it open, and let's have a look inside here and see if I can get this thing working. I believe this might be a custom job because I've looked all over the internet at the Kimbara guitars and I cannot find one that even looks like this with all this gear on it. So not quite sure. If anyone's got any information of the history of this type of guitar, or if you know who might have made it, please write it in the comments below, because I would really like to know. Anyway, I'll shut up now and get it open. Looking at the switches and things, I'm guessing this is for the pickups 1, 2 and 3, and then you have this normal NOR in the center, and you can have pickup 1 and 2 together, or 2 and 3 together. There's a cap missing here, and this is an odd cap, but not the end of the day. There's a matching cap for those, so I might as well change that one as well, so then they'll be all matching caps. Let's get this whammy bar off. So on the back, I know I said earlier that this was the only cover. Just realised actually this cover is quite big, so that's probably over the top of maybe circuit board or something underneath there. That screw there is knackered. Ooh, nasty. Yeah, I think that battery has probably seen better days. Right. Oh, look, it's just falling to pieces. Oh, that's not a good sign. I wonder what the rest of it's going to be like in there. Aha! Yes. Bit of electronics here. As you look inside the circuit here, this chip here says 1978. Well, it says 7812, and that's a date code, meaning 1978, 12th week. So that's late March 1978. This one is 76. So you go by the later one, which is 1978. So this circuit board was probably made in 1978. Now, what is that chip there? It's a MC3403P. Well, that's a quad operational amplifier. And the little one next to it here, that's MC1458B CP or 8C? No, BCP. Okay, that's just a dual op amp. And then the one we've got hiding under these wires here is another MC3403. So that's another quad operational amplifier. So not sure exactly when this circuit board was made, but I am sure when those chips were manufactured. Other than that, it doesn't look too bad in here. Those capacitors might need changing, because if they've been in here since 1978, there wouldn't be any harm in changing those. But what I'm going to do anyway is just try and get the thing working first, try the guitar, and if it works, it works. If there's other problems, then I'll start changing caps and things, but I don't want to change things unnecessarily. But I just thought, a nice look inside the circuit board there. I've taken a couple of pictures of where all the wires go, because some of them are so old and crispy. Once I start pulling this out, it might put strain on these wires, on these little posts, and start pulling them up. And what I don't want is lots of random wires hanging around and not knowing where they go. So always a good idea to take a few pictures before you start disassembling things. At least you've got something you can go back on. I've taken off all the knob caps, I've taken off all the strings, so hopefully it's just going to be a case of unscrewing this. Now when we get to these screws here, they adjust the height of the actual pickups, so there's no way of guessing where they are. Once I unscrew these, they will all probably drop down, so I'll just leave that for the moment connected to this plate. I'm not even sure if I've got to unbolt these caps and switches to get the top plate off, but I'm going to find out as soon as I unscrew this plate. Ah, yes it does. Resolve. Okay, let's see what's under there. Oh my, oh my. Right, I can't flip this over until I unscrewed the circuit board on the other side, because that circuit board has got to come through with this. So I'll flip it back over and unscrew the actual circuit board and release it. So what we've got on here, 3 screws. I don't trust these wires, they look a bit crispy, so try and be careful with them. There's some spacers there, and it looks like if I remove this plastic cover here, let me just get something to grip that with. Aha. So then this circuit board has got to feed through like that. Right. It's going to be a little bit tricky. Come on through. Right. There's a lot going off on there. Just wedge that there a moment. Right. I kind of noticed as I was cleaning up inside here, there's all this chromium plating, which is conductive and magnetic as well. And this was all floating about inside here, which isn't good, especially with all these circuit boards hanging around. So I've given all this a very good hoover up around the boards, and with a fine brush made sure there's none of this hanging around now. The signal wires come off the jack socket, so I'm going to resolder that. And also some of the wires here have, look, you see I'm putting the chrome back on again. Some of the wires here are quite crispy. I mean, where they're connecting down to the board, it's sort of, yeah, I really need to resolder these, because I've wiggled a few up here and I've actually, I don't know if I've broken it off or if it was already broken off, but there's one off this board. And yeah, the only word for that is some of the wiring is crispy. I think that's the only word I can say. Other than that, everything else looks fine. So I'll get that soldered. Oh, new 9-volt connector to go on here as well. And I'm going to resolder all these tabs and then see if I can get any sound out of it. There you go. Even desoldering that, it's pulled a bit of the actual track through with it. So it's yeah, definitely needs replacing some of these wires. There's a particular smell to this old solder. It must be that wonderful lead content that's in here. Well, it's a vintage guitar, so you need lead-based solder, obviously. Don't take my word for that. I'll get arrested by the health and safety. Right, I'm going to resolder all these other little wires now. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but that's kind of just hanging by one tiny thread. Obviously, when you're doing this, do one at a time. Now that one was actually off. It was sitting there, but I could move it around freely. If I just pulled slightly, the wire came away. So there you go. One or two of these things have suffered from dry joints. That one looks a bit dodgy there. Yeah, the solder has gone a sort of a greyish colour rather than shiny silver. Now if I just temporarily put all these pieces back in, I don't necessarily have to put a string on it to test it. And I'll show you a way of generating a signal without having to have the strings resonating over the coils here. Yeah, I think that's gone in. Now if I just flip that over and just put this circuit board back into place here. A couple of screws on the other side, and if I'm lucky, then ha! Stupid. Classic mistake. I should have put the 9-volt connector in here first and then ran the wires through there. Oh well. I thought that hole was a little bit bigger. I thought it was big enough to put this through, but obviously not. Okay, try again. Do it properly. Or at least make it look like I know what I'm doing. Right, try again. So if you get a set of little mini headphones, they'll magnetically stick to the pickups on a guitar. And then, let's plug this in. Ah, that's a good sign. The little red LED has just come on as I plugged that in. So, turn on the amp. I've only got a bog standard crappy amplifier here. And let's play some music through the headphones. Aha. It doesn't sound brilliantly. It doesn't sound fantastic, but the iPod is playing through here and now there's a signal. So what's actually going off with these? Oh yeah, there's a bit of a change in the sound there. That sounds like the phaser. I don't know what I'm doing. I haven't got a clue. I think the best thing to do is put the strings on now, because at least we know now there's going to be some form of signal getting from the pickups through all this lot and then off to your amplifier. So that's just a quick way of just checking that that bit of circuit is at least working. Nice little bit of sponge to just grip the battery and stop it flapping around in there. I'm going to put some new strings on this. It seems silly putting old rusty strings back on it. It's all back together now, and almost in tune. I haven't got a tuner, so that's the best I can do. It's going into an amplifier. There's no effects on the amplifier at all. It's just straight out of the guitar and into the amp. So if you hear any effects, it's the guitar that's actually doing the effects. So I think that's kind of dry. So we'll switch on the effects and just strum. Well, it's certainly doing something. I don't know what all these controls are. Some of them may be to do with the effects, and some will obviously be for your pickups and things. So yeah, that's definitely sustained there. Doesn't seem to be doing a lot there. I'm not sure what is actually supposed to be controlling what. There's so many various ways that you can switch these toggle switches. That's interesting. Like I say, I'm a keyboard player. I'm not a guitarist, so sorry about that. Look, I can mess about with this all night long, just trying to work out the combinations of what the hell I'm supposed to be doing here, and I don't know what I'm doing. They're not push buttons. So I'd just like to say thank you very much for watching, and I'll hope to come up with something interesting soon. All the best. Goodbye.